Put those fours up. That is the message from Ohio State coach Ryan Day. And there are 4 of us in here on the live show at Roosters, a fun casual joint, also brought to you by Tansky Power Sports. We have Nicole Cox. We have Zach Boren back for the first time in way too long.
Many moons.
Jeremy Birmingham over here. I am Austin Ward. In the second half of the show, we're going to have Zach's favorite topics, nothing but recruiting. And Mick Walker of Lettermen Row will join us. But to start it all off, just had Ryan Day out there, a bunch of Buckeyes, Nicole, talking to ESPN. And I thought this was interesting because it's a shift in mindset. We know coming off the national championship in 2024, Ohio State had a great regular season, undefeated. We know what happened after that. Now there's a team that has maybe a little bit more to prove in a different mindset. This just struck me. You react to it now, Nicole. You haven't read it. You can react live. We're going to have to win games in the fourth quarter of the season. Look at the schedule that we have. We have to be really good at that. There'll be confrontations. Peyton Pierce said this, a lot of yelling, guys getting after one another. They know that they didn't finish off those games when they had opportunities to win them. And I think a motivated Ohio State team is pretty dangerous.
I 100% agree. 100%. And you were talking about sometimes some complacency after winning a national championship. And we were actually having that conversation in our house this past weekend over the U.S. Open. And Scotty Scheffler, just winning over and over again. And now he's not doing as great, And I think that there can be some complacency after that. I love to dive deep into things like that and just wonder, how that happens. But I think that this team is young, and there are some of them that haven't experienced that, winning the national championship. And I think that they saw what it was like, and I think that makes them want it even more.
Yeah, and I don't know that I would say that Ohio State got complacent last year. Because
I'm being too – that's too –
No, I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to put it in that context because it would be easy to make that an excuse, Zach, right? That they lost those last 2 games. So they weren't pushed to the same level they were. We shouldn't dismiss what they did in those first 12 games, and Julian Sain being a first-time starter, all those new defensive players that were rising to the occasion. That regular season exceeded all expectations, and then they just happened to lose 2 games. But what tends to happen, at least in my 15 years of covering this team, is when the Buckeyes have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they'll find it, that can take them to a different level that, if it's 5% more, if it's 10% more, I don't know. You've been a part of that, that's different than when you've already accomplished something at the highest level.
Yes.
Yeah. So what he said, I think, was a loaded statement. I actually love the Scotty Scheffler analogy, and the whole reason why is because Scotty Scheffler's never won the U.S. Open. So he has won all these golf tournaments, is the best golfer, but's never won the U.S. Open. And so you you rewind to last year, Ohio State's never won back-to-back national championships, right? And after the Big Ten championship game against Indiana, everyone was expecting Ohio State to win. And not that the team kind of didn't finish or weren't motivated. You just could kind of tell after they lost that game that things may have gotten a little tighter around there, right? You're playing, even though you get a first-round bye, you're playing a Miami team, just wasn't as loose as they normally were. And I think Ryan Day, going into this year, looking at schedule, normally look at Ohio State's schedule, all right, these 2 games are the games, right? Last year, Texas, Michigan, that was it. This year,
we were still talking about Penn State at this time,
but
not by September.
Yeah, not by September, right? So, but you look at this year's schedule, in 4 for sure, Texas, Oregon, Indiana, and Michigan, right? And then maybe you throw in USC, depending on what they're doing. Maybe you throw in Illinois. Maybe you throw in Iowa, right? That schedule is loaded. So I think to Ryan's point is this year, more often than not, you're going to be in some dogfights in fourth quarters. And Ohio State just isn't used to that game after game after game going through the regular season.
They didn't do it at all last year until
the
Indiana game. Those were the only 2 games that were even remotely interesting when you got into the fourth quarter. But those are the games you lost. So if you better find a way to prepare yourself, because those are the games you're going to play over and over and over this year. So it's such a weird season ahead of us, because this is a team that, again, we've talked about it, but nationally, the perception of Ohio State is so different than locally, I think, which is that around here, people are like, they might lose 3 or 4 games. Nationally, people are like, they're going to win every game. Maybe they'll lose.
They could go 10-2, but then you don't want to see them in the playoff.
Right. So, it's just a weird thing. And I think for Ryan and these guys who there was all the discussion last year about moving down a row, right? And guys who weren't really a part of the national championship that had to step up and move down a row. Now you have 51 new guys who they're still trying to learn each other's names and faces down there, really.
I think they've got pretty good at that by now.
For the most part. But
that's what those bumpers on the back of the helmet are for.
You do have
we all appreciate
a much different mindset heading into this year. And it's, I don't know, is there more pressure on Ryan Day and the Buckeyes this year or last year?
I think less pressure. I think last year coming off the national championship, knowing like, hey, there's a whole bunch of question marks. People were worried they weren't going to perform, this and that, especially Texas week 1. I felt like there was pressure. This year, the team is talented, but Birm, to your point, I don't remember a time where Ohio State fans are crazy. I don't remember a time where the local fan base or media is like, might be tough, and the rest of the national media is like, oh no, this team's going to be really good. Like
it's
normally the exact opposite. And so,
well, they have to counteract it because they want to be able to irritate the Ohio State fan base.
But it's almost like there's just a weird feeling going into the season, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I almost feel like locally they're a little under the radar. Everyone doesn't have such high expectations. There's not so much pressure, which in all reality could be a very good thing.
It's a great thing. It's my favorite thing. Yeah. I love that.
Well, I think that is the benefit of playing this challenging schedule because we can look at this and say, yeah, this is the most difficult on paper Ohio State regular season schedule that I've ever seen. Certainly
in history,
and maybe ever. I'll leave that up to the historians, but I can say for the 15 years, this is the most anticipated, most difficult that there's going to be.
I think it's good we keep reminding people of that too.
But you can look at that and say, and harp on that. So this is unusual. Can Ohio State withstand that? Well, they're built to. They are. You can also have a hard schedule and be the most talented team in the country, which I still think they are.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think they are. It's funny you bring that up. Rewind like 15 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, and think Ohio State goes on the road to Texas, USC, Nebraska, Iowa,
Indiana, national champion.
But Indiana, but
and
not no. Let's say
you have
20
to
years.
Explain that to somebody 20 years ago.
But 20 years ago, Indiana, no. But think about those four. I mean, those are still kind of blue bloods of college football, right? Like Iowa and Nebraska. I know they're not what they used to be, but still, you think about that schedule, everyone would be like, no way. There's no way they're playing that schedule.
And you have to be like, why are they playing USC and Nebraska?
Yeah.
What a world.
I get that.
What an adventure we're on.
That is quite an adventure, Birm. That's a great point. Let me remind you that if you're looking for your next adventure, head to Tansky Power Sports, your one-stop shop for ATVs, dirt bikes, golf carts, and more. Whether you're looking for speed, power, or versatility, Tansky Power Sports has something for everyone. With the best brands and expert service, visit Tansky Power Sports today at 2491 West Dublin Granville Road, or browse their huge selection online at TanskyPowersports.com. Tansky Power Sports, where the adventure begins. I think there was an adventure for Tansky Power Sports out at Tartan over the weekend, Nicole, and a fantastic second-place finish for Mark Cox. I mean, winning second in a member guest, and that's winning, by the way. That's not losing.
Yeah.
I think that's a remarkable.
That means you won your flight.
You won your flight. You got deep into the playoff.
And they, won the whole thing. They won their flight, and then,
It's not easy. I mean, the week before.
I think second is wonderful. I think that's something that needs to be celebrated.
You get a prize for that.
You do.
A financial prize.
Yes, you do. Which I just found out about last night.
And the Olympics, you get to stand on a thing.
Yeah.
You know?
It's called.
I mean, you're a little bit smaller than the person next to you.
You get to stand on a thing. That could be anything.
First is always the goal. But second is still something to be celebrated.
100%.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for agreeing with me on that.
I don't know how anyone could argue against that. Zach, did you finish second in your member guest?
Second in my flight.
Now that's now you can be
second
upset.
In my flight. I know. To give everyone a recap, I know Stoney and I didn't lose a match all weekend and still came in second. I mean, unbelievable.
Your shoulders look sore from carrying Stoney around all week.
No, Stoney played good on Saturday.
Okay.
Me, not so much.
Okay. Well, I
told you, round of my life on Friday, though.
I was excited. Saturday. I figured you were barreling into Saturday ready to go.
Oh, no. I was. little hungover, but I was ready to go. But you just kind of know when you play the round of your life, like there's no way you're coming back the next day firing just as good.
Exactly. It's the definition of golf.
I know.
Like professionals do it.
Like I shouldn't have went to sleep Friday night. You know, like once I went to sleep, it was
gone.
It was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
It's
can
an interesting sport.
I can understand, Nicole, in the moment being a competitor and upset that you lost and then forgetting about all the other good work that went on before that. I think it's a little bit like Mark finishing second at Tartan is a little bit like Ohio State's regular season being entirely cast aside, going 12-0, winning the rivalry. Gold pants is whatever financial prize Mark got. Like that money spends, and those gold pants are forever. I don't think that we can view 2025 Ohio State, despite how they can turn that into motivation for this year or next year at Tartan or next year at Pinnacle or North Star, into motivation and then dismiss the fact that you've made progress.
You're preaching what I like to say for everyone.
Well, I just want to bring it back to Ohio State.
And
you know?
I love that. And I love that. And it's so true. I think we need to celebrate. I mean, that's what keeps a team going. You have to celebrate the good things you've done and know that you have the capability. And then also you have to have a goal to work towards, you know? So I think that gives you more drive to get there, you know, and us not winning it last year. And like we were saying earlier, complacency was not the right word. I mean that we did have an easy season, like an easier season last year, but we played so great. We have a great team. Coach Day does such a great job at the coaches outing. Just getting to talk to some of the players that were there, he raises great men as well. And they're just all around. It's such an incredible team. We are so lucky to have them here in Columbus, you know, and I just like to remind people of that. And I just think they're going to play incredibly well this year. And Coach Day definitely, he keeps them driven, you know, but also like, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited for this season. I think a challenge is always, it just makes you stronger.
Yeah. You and Eric did a fantastic job again with the coaches outing last week.
Him and his team, they're just so great. They did such a great job. Thank you.
Were you most interested to learn last week out there?
I think it was just how welcoming. So all the coaches come, they're each paired with a foursome. They were excited to be there. They were, you know, and it's to raise money for the Excellence Fund, which helps fund just random things that the team needs. Team bonding, things that are important for recruiting, for the team. Again, a piece of the puzzle that makes the team great. You know, you have to have those team bonding outings to like get the camaraderie really strong. And so, but all the coaches were so excited to be there, so appreciative to all the sponsors. And the athletes were as well. They were thanking us for having them. We're like, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. Like they're really great. Then all of our sponsors said they were just wonderful to spend the day with, very talkative. And I mean, that's not always said for athletes sometimes, you know?
Yeah, no, there's some really good dudes in that program. So back to, you know, looking at and evaluating 2025 at this point, Zach, like Ryan Day's harping on the fourth quarter, Mickey Maratti's harping on that, Schlegels, Peyton Pierce, Brandon Ennis, all of them talking in this ESPN story about that. It can be easy for us, I think, to forget not just the 12-0 piece, but also how close in the fourth quarter of both of those games against Indiana and Miami it really was. If you convert one red zone opportunity against Indiana, you beat the number one team in the country. Maybe don't even play Miami the week after that. It's not as if, you know, sometimes as we overreact in the media or for fans or whoever else, gosh, you know, what a disappointment that postseason one. Back-to-back losses. And this is not meant to be a silver lining, but they were not some disappointing non-competitive team. The number one team in the country beat them, and a team that played for the national championship beat them, and Ohio State had opportunities to finish those games, both of them, that they let slip away. They're not far away.
No, but to your point, they've lost 4 games over the last 2 years, and all 4 of them were lost in the fourth quarter. All of them came down to final drives. You think of Oregon, at Oregon. You think of Michigan. You think in Indiana and Miami this past year, right? Like, all of them were right there. So, to Ryan Day's point, you finish in the fourth quarter, guess what? You're going to win a lot of football games in those games.
You never lose.
Yeah, you never
Especially
lose.
because that goes back even to Michigan in 22, 23.
Oh, no doubt. Here's my question. If Ohio State goes on the road to Texas in week 2 and it comes down to the fourth quarter, which I think everyone thinks it will, and Ohio State wins that football game, do all the expectations change now looking forward of what this football team can do?
100% it does. It shouldn't, because you still have the rest of the schedule you have to play,
Right.
and it's not going to change anything nationally about the way people think Ohio State is. That's going to be a back and forth,
For sure.
slugfest. That's what that game's going to be. Should it change locally for people's expectations? I don't think it should, but it will, which is unfair.
Will Ryan Day be making different comments then? Right? If they're harping on the fourth quarter now and they show that against Texas, that's what I always worry about. Not worry about. That's always something that I think about when there's a message going into the season. There always is, right? When that message gets answered early on, does it change the perception of the team? Does it change the mindset of what Ryan then starts pushing? Like all of these things, or do you just have to continue to build on the momentum?
I don't think it changes it. I think it solidifies it. I think it reinforces why that's been the message from the start, right? And so you play that game in Austin, Texas on September 12th, but then you still have to go to Iowa 3 weeks later. You still have to take on Illinois at home 2 weeks later. Like those things are still coming. So I think all it does is really it's like a stepping stone. It's one of the bricks that they're building.
Yeah.
They're going to say, well, we got this one. We learned a lesson. We applied what we were fighting for and what we were saying all along, and then you just have to keep going because it's September 12th. It doesn't mean anything.
Sorry, Nicole. I think that the tenor of that conversation right now is also designed on the length of the season and the number of difficult games they're going to play. So if they get through Texas and they answer a fourth quarter challenge, I don't know. They certainly shouldn't view the work as being done.
Yeah.
Could that be another scenario where the complacency creeps in? Yeah, maybe. But I think they're all trying to guard against that and view this as 15, 16 games, 6 or 7 competitive games, talent-equated matchup games that are going to go through the fourth quarter, and that you're not done just if you beat Texas. Whereas if you think about the conversation in the offseason last year, it was all geared toward beating Texas in the opener. The way that they structured practice, the way that they talked in workouts, making sure that you could build a game plan around and for Julian Sayin in week 1. That was to beat Texas because they knew after that, all right, well, you can go back and have another training camp.
Yeah, the great thing is, though, you had Michigan at the end of the season that you hadn't beaten in 5 years. So,
a while.
Yeah. So that was a great thing. And I totally agree with you guys. I just think some people, Ohio State fans in general, they're going to think that. So I wanted to bring it up because people are going to be watching like, well, they're pushing fourth quarter. What happens if that happens in Texas and they win? Then what's the message, right? Like some people are so short-sighted with the message and what Ryan Day, when you have to look at it, to your point, holistically of, hey, that's the message for the entire year, right? We might accomplish what we need to do in Texas in the fourth quarter, but we have to build on that as the year goes on.
Yeah.
And you guys, Coach Day, what I've always taken, it's one game at a time. And I feel like mentally that is so important to block out all the noise and to focus, and in life in general. Just, you can get so overwhelmed so easily with the 1 million things we all have going on, but you just focus on what's right in front of you. Okay, we're going to focus on this next game, which means, okay, great job, guys. We finished it out in the fourth quarter. Let's remember we still have to do that, but let's also make these changes of maybe some mistakes we made in this game. And that's how you reach, you keep striving for perfection.
Yeah.
And that's what makes teams successful. So
if you're reaching perfection on a Tuesday,
you're reaching for a mac and cheese.
You
burger.
are.
You are. 100%.
They're the number
You
one.
are eating.
They're the finest.
I saw you, bro.
They're so good.
Appetizer. Oh,
Sperm
some
eats
of that-
them though with hot sauce.
Some of that hot sauce has already been spilled all over.
It's a lot of people eat them with hot sauce.
I'm
I
not
shouldn't
gonna
just say
sit
Birm.
here- I'm not going to sit here
He's a trendsetter.
and not eat it
Okay.
when it's right in front of me like this.
Well, on a Tuesday, you come in here,
Yeah.
dine in at any
I will.
participating local
I
Roosters.
will.
Hey, and also huge thanks to Birm, guys. Birm and Bobby came out to the coaches outing and
had
just
a
to help
great time. We had a
volunteer,
great
help with
time.
anything we needed, which is so sweet.
Did you put him
and
to work
support.
out there?
Um,
It didn't look like they were working that hard.
little.
Nicole, Bob doesn't play golf. So
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to find the positives.
Sure, he's golfing right now, I think.
They were
I think he's a lacrosse.
they were
team.
just 2 Roosters mascots out there.
You
You need to put them
they
in
were
the
helping.
costume.
We had a great time. I would have worn the.
Oh gosh, I would never do.
I would have
that
been the
in
cock of
heat.
the walk.
Do you know that I had to
I don't even know what that
be a
expression is.
mascot for 3 days when I was an on-field promotions assistant
You
for the Casper
did?
Rockies?
I've been the rooster.
Have you?
Mhm.
Zach, you've never put on a mascot
no, I
costume.
never have.
If you see our Christmas commercial,
No,
that's
never,
me.
no,
I'm
never.
in the suit.
That's you.
I
What about
never
the
have.
Blue Jackets one on the ice? Is that you?
That's
too?
not me. No, I can't skate.
Okay.
So, and
Well, I don't think the Roosters.
I did
can
it
skate
one
either.
time, and the
BC,
rooster
the
looked pretty short. So they were like, "This might not work."
Last year, the Buckeyes had a Brutus who was like 6'7". That was
It's the biggest Brutus
Yeah.
of all time.
that was a game changer. Anyway, these are $3 on
These are game
appetizer
changers.
three day. That's dine in only. Anything else going on? This is going to be, by the way, the final June live show at Roosters. There is a Monday next week, but I'm out. Everybody's been out. A lot of vacations this month. So anything going on in the build up to the 4th of July or anything else on your mind, Nicole?
No, just thank you to everybody for all the support they give us. It's been a great summer thus far. It's nice. I can't believe it's already almost the end of June.
Yeah.
And again,
Crazy.
huge congrats and thank you to Eric and his team for the
Awesome.
coaches outing. It was just a really great day. Really great. And to the OSU team for just being so wonderful. So
Yeah. I'm hitting up Eric this week. Got a big birthday this
Oh.
Saturday.
Oh.
Not mine. Little 2-year-old Bo.
Aw, happy
birthday.
birthday,
Does he
sweet
want
boy.
some chips? Is that what he wants?
We're catering Roosters for his birthday party.
Thanks, Zach.
It's a great
That's
choice.
so nice.
I
You
know.
guys,
I
thank
loves it.
you.
It's a fun casual joint, and it's good for catering
Yeah.
as well, so don't miss that. Don't miss the second half of the show. I'm just going to let Zach take control as he talks with Lettermen Rose, Mick Walker, and Birm
Can't
about
wait.
his favorite. I'm just going to cool out in the back, maybe get my salad going, and listen and enjoy like everybody else. But we'll be right back in here at the live show at Roosters, a fun casual joint, brought to you by Tansky Power Sports.
The Roosters Foundation helps us be able to give back to the community. It's part of our culture within the company.
They donate to organizations that are near and dear to their heart, and we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long time.
They always go above and beyond to help support our foundation to further help veterans.
It's just a wonderful feeling to know that Roosters supports the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Well, welcome back into the live show at Roosters. It is the second half. It is a strong recruiting half of the show. Probably the most in-depth that we've ever had in here because we have Lettermen Rose, Mick Walker. We have Lettermen Rose, Jeremy Birmingham. We have, I think, probably the most interested recruiting follower I know in Zach Boren. And then just me.
Stars don't matter.
No. I know. I'm just interested in recruiting because, as you know, I'm close with Mark Pantone, and I have to make sure he's doing his job.
It's
it's
accountability.
I give him a "What have you done lately?" text. If I don't see a commitment.
Was Mick?
I speak for the rest of Buckeye Nation.
You speak for the French.
Zach, was Mick a recruitable athlete? You think?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
had one person
Look-
during my time, whether I was at Watkins or covering Ohio State, that's come to Ohio State, and that was Jaden Rickens, who's now at Ohio State as a freshman wide receiver. Other than that, no.
Look at him. He's a recruit now. He's Letterman Rowe. You're telling me Letterman Rowe didn't recruit him?
Right.
They recruited him to the beat.
Yeah.
Develops here.
Is that not a recruit?
Sure.
I don't know. It's just
You didn't ask
during your
football
stint in coaching, you two had a chance to get.
I know. I saw his promise. I knew he was going to be one of the best beat writers on.
Let me
at Ohio
introduce
State.
you to Austin Birm. Let's get you out of these pads.
I just realized that's why you're here. That's unbelievable.
Great
I-
job, Zach.
I think I was DMing Berm at the time to be like, can I do something?
You were when you were 16.
You
Yeah.
planted the
That's
seeds for the
100%.
black jerseys, and you sent Mick Walker on to greatness.
That is true.
That's-
Thank you.
You're doing a lot
And
of
you
work.
eliminated the fullback position at Ohio State.
No,
God,
it's fully
I
back.
did a lot.
It's back.
Do they
Yeah.
ask you to come in and help with Nate to show him how to do
No,
stuff?
that's never been asked. No.
It's unfortunate.
I just give my opinion.
Weird.
on
They don't
recruiting.
ask you to do.
That's it.
They don't ask you to help the linebackers or the fullback.
No.
That's weird.
They
you
did
get the-
ask him to help with the linebackers a couple
Did
years
you get the
ago.
backer hood stuff though?
No. What's that?
Oh, James
Oh,
has
no.
created a new logo for the linebackers.
What?
It's now the backer hood is what it's called.
Oh.
So
No.
James is all about that custom gear.
You had to play more than 6 games
Oh.
at linebacker was the cutoff. So
Shoot.
just
6.
just missed it.
To,
So the last official visit weekend is done. Recruiting camps are over, and a quiet stretch coming. The coaches are on vacation. I know that Zach has just one question on his mind, so I'll let him ask it.
It's not a quiet stretch coming. Now is when stuff gets really loud for Mark Pantone and the people who are having to negotiate who actually is in this class and who is not. And that includes commitments. And guys like Brady Edmonds who were in town, the longtime quarterback commit who's now back and forth between
it's a
Ohio
great
State and
question. Do we
UCLA.
think he's going to be a part of the class?
I think it's I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to – I think that Brady wants to be,
Yeah.
but I think that the conversation with UCLA is different than maybe Ohio State anticipated it being. It's Ohio State has had Brady Edmonds committed for almost 2 years, a year and a half now. And it's part of the reason that he was such an ideal candidate at quarterback was obviously the 6'5", 240 pounds that can throw the ball through a brick wall type of stuff. But it's that there was not really a huge ask on the NIL front.
Yeah.
Okay, because he loves Ohio State. His family's from Cleveland. They love the Buckeyes. If UCLA can muddy that water enough by saying, well, hey, look, you're only going to get X there. We're going to give you 5X. Then all of a sudden things become a much different conversation. And that's why I thought it was interesting last week, Brady talking about the business decision that he has to make. And it's not because he was really concerned about Ohio State trying to add a second quarterback. I think he understands how the world works when it comes to rosters. But it is about feeling the love, you know. And if you go a few months when you've been committed for 18 months and you don't feel like you're getting valued, conversations change.
Well, I think that was just the conversation. It was like Jameer Brown. You get him on campuses, and that's when those money conversations intensify. I don't think there's any concern there, but that I know there was some whispers, at least from his camp, that like we haven't really talked money yet. Well, that's what the official visit was for. You get him on campus this past weekend, and now you actually kind of get to hammer things out. And I imagine everything is easy peasy with that recruitment.
Mick, will you actually answer Zach's question if Brady Edmonds will be in this class or not? Don't give me an I don't know like Birm.
I just don't know who else it would be. Like I know the Ohio State fan base really wants Trey Taylor to be a thing for Ohio State. I think that one is kind of passed on based on what was kind of happening in the spring. And other than that, Birm and I had both talked to people on Billy Fessler's travels, the different quarterbacks Ohio State went to evaluate, and I don't think there was anybody they were really moved by beyond Trey Taylor.
And nobody else took a visit. No other 2027
Do you think
quarterback
when it
took
comes to quarterback recruiting, it might be different than any other position, knowing that, hey, if there's not a quarterback I'm in love with, we can just sit where we're at and go to the portal and know that, guess what, we can get someone that we really want.
We're going to have to go to the portal anyway. That's almost a foregone conclusion. You're adding another quarterback, whether Brady Edmonds is in this class or not. You're adding another quarterback.
100%. But what I'm saying is you are not going to chase Brady Edmonds with throwing money at him. And I'm saying from a quarterback position, more than any other probably position that you look at, I'm not going to throw money at a guy to create depth because I can go to the portal and get the next top 10 quarterback in college football.
I think that's fair, but I also think that we know last year Ohio State was in the same, not in the same position, but summertime came around and Luke Fahey was out there and like, well, we got to get a quarterback. So I think they probably end up paying a little bit more than you would have anticipated for Luke Fahey, considering his recruiting profile a year ago than you maybe wanted to. So the question is, does the quarterback position come with such a premium that you have to pay no matter what?
But I would say not, and you shouldn't for a true freshman.
Not if you don't love a kid. I don't want to say love a kid. That's not if you are infatuated with a kid that, to your point, you think can be the true backup as a true freshman. If you think he can be the backup as a true freshman, I think it's worth paying. If not, you have to pay to go in the portal anyways to either find a starter or find a backup.
And you look at the prevalence of quarterback movement, transfer portal, otherwise flips, decommitments.
80% of the top
it's so high
quarterbacks have transferred in the last 5 years.
So to me, it doesn't make sense as an upfront investment for Ohio State. And what you're talking about, Zach, that's different. If you get, an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman that more than likely they understand it might take more than a year to get on the field, great. Sometimes you're going to have to pay up. Ohio State, I think, is adjusting its philosophy on that front from what it has the last couple of years. But it doesn't make sense for them to do that at quarterback, knowing what it would take to have a top flight elite starting quarterback, whether that's Julian Sayin or they believe that it's Tavian St. Clair after yet. Like, we don't know what that piece of the puzzle will look like until we get to December. Yeah. Is Julian Sayin going to be an NFL prospect at the end of this year? How will Tavian's development track go? Does the person, as Birm mentioned, if it's a foregone conclusion, does the target that you have to pursue in the transfer portal at quarterback, does that have to be a veteran starter or can it be a backup? Like, we don't know that answer at this point, but it shouldn't change the dynamic for what you're paying for Brady Edmonds or anybody else that's in, at least in my position, in my evaluation for what Ohio State needs to do with their money. Because if you are a national championship program, what you're paying at the top of that roster for your quarterback is going to command so much that you can't allocate anything to someone who can't possibly help you in year one.
Right. Well, especially a quarterback like that's going to be your third or fourth string quarterback, right? Like, whereas, and I think it's completely different when you look at recruiting with linebacker, DB, wide receiver, like even defensive end, different things, because those guys can come in, and even though you're paying them, guess what? There's normally rotation in a game. Guess what? There's also something called special teams where those guys can go out there and make their name known. Like, there's so many different things that some of these young players can do. Whereas, and that's why I asked the question, because I think quarterback's completely different.
It is completely different. But it also is the spot where you have to be able to project, okay, is this someone who's going to be that guy 2 years from now, 3 years from now? So you ask someone like Brady Evans, hey, come in, understand you're probably going to get a little bit less, but you have a chance to be the quarterback at Ohio State 3 years from now.
Right, but UCLA has a conversation where, guess what, we're going to pay you 5X because you're going to either be the starter or backup.
Right.
But if you're Ohio State, to Austin's point, you don't want to chase those guys. And I think that's what's so hard for Ohio State fans to understand, especially when it gets in recruiting. You don't want to throw money at guys to chase them.
You don't want to put money into players who are not going to play for 2 or 3 years. That's just the bottom line. What he bringing up earlier is the defensive line, where you have guys like DJ Jacobs, who's 247 Sports has him as the number 1 ranked player in the country. He's a unanimous 5-star. You've got the conversation and this ongoing pursuit of Marcus Fakatau, the 5-star defensive end from California, who I think both Mick and I think he will pick Ohio State whenever he makes his decision, probably in the next 10 days or so. Carlos May, the big defensive tackle from Alabama, who was on campus this weekend for his official visit. Because there is really nobody else on the board at defensive tackle, you better get him.
Yeah.
So that's where you put the money. Even though you signed 4 guys at defensive tackle last year, even though you can bring back Edric Houston and bring back Will Smith, you still don't want to go. You don't want to go any cycle without putting somebody in place in each position. But you have to determine what makes the most sense from a monetary standpoint for Ohio State. And I think a good percentage of the fan base just believes Ohio State should always have the best everything all the time, never.
Yeah, it's impossible. And I think in the day and age of college football and how much money's in it, I think Ohio State, what people need to realize is they target probably 5 guys that they really want, and you go all in on those guys.
The first round picks.
Yeah, the first round picks, and you go all in. After that, you're sprinkling in a lot of guys from Ohio. You're sprinkling in a lot of Midwest guys who love Ohio State or might come there for a little bit of a discount, knowing that, guess what, if I go there and I perform and I get in that program and I get coached really hard, I could become an elite player, and then guess what, I'm going to get paid by them then. So I guess my question to you guys is, who are Ohio State's top 5 elite guys in this class? Who are you like, they want those guys?
There's obviously David Gabriel George, the running back from Tennessee, who is Ohio State or Tennessee. Jameer Brown, who's been committed for almost 2 years. David Jacobs, Marcus Fakatau, and Quentin Cipher, the linebacker commit from North Carolina. Those are probably in that group. I think Carlos May is maybe working himself into that discussion, but maybe because there's nobody else on the board, not because of his talent. He's very good, but I don't know that he's someone I would have considered in that role up until the rest of the defensive tackle board fell off.
Does Ohio State get all 5 of those guys that they want? Keep them or get them?
I don't think so. I mean, I it's hard to. We know what is happening in the David Gabriel George recruitment. Buckeyes offered his best friend and
neighbor
basically on Friday night. So that's an interesting play. That's not something the Buckeyes would normally do, but it's a reminder.
We got Tennessee dealing with the family members and jobs, and Ohio State now getting into the teammates.
So
this recruitment
is what you have to do.
Wild.
But I think it's as you look at the way rosters are being constructed. Again, there's the first round picks, right? And we know who those guys are. Ohio State clearly values them. That's why DJ Jacobs committed when he did back in December. It's why the Buckeyes, after not having Marcus Fakatau on campus at all until March, became the prohibitive favorite. There's the first round picks, and the idea is that you fill in the rest of the roster with the second day picks, the third, fourth round guys, and then you fill out the back half with the undrafted free agents and the 7th round guys. I think what Ohio State's running into, unfortunately, is that a lot of schools are realizing that Ohio State's fourth round guys are their first round guys. So I think what you're actually going to see is more filling the middle tier guys from the transfer portal. And I think you're going to see more and more high level guys at the top of the class and then projects. And I don't think you're going to see a lot of in-between guys. I really just don't think you're going to.
Unless someone really wants to go to Ohio State.
Unless somebody really wants to go to Ohio State or they're from Ohio and they're willing to take a little bit less. But even that case, so you look at a guy like Monsana Torbert, the cornerback from Cincinnati Princeton, who visited Ohio State officially last week, all this discussion, he's going to commit to the Buckeyes. Can we get him to shut down his recruitment and not visit Michigan? But he went to Ann Arbor, and now there's momentum for them because it's just pay for play.
Yeah.
And then you have also like Blake Wong, who visited this past weekend. It's like Blake Wong, Ohio State would love to have him as the second wide receiver in this class as a 4-star guy, but BYU, he's an LDS guy, he's a Mormon. Like Oregon has all the money in the world. BYU would love to have him as their number 1 wide receiver in the class.
Is in that as well. So it's very difficult. I don't think people are really grasping how hard it is for what Mark Pantoni and those guys are trying to do right now because money is not unlimited.
No, it is not. And there are a lot of schools that now have money. Every school now has money, and they can allocate it however they want.
But to go back to your original question, I think there's probably 7 to 8 guys that are left on the board for Ohio State. A lot of them are deciding in the coming days and weeks. Kalen Bailey, the 3-star linebacker from Glenville, is supposed to decide on Thursday, I believe, Berm.
When's
the 25th, whatever it is. And then Blake Wong will
Thursday
on the
my
20th.
wedding anniversary.
Friday's 5-star offensive lineman Caden Moss will make his decision. Probably not going to pick Ohio State. It's hard to pull a kid from Mississippi. But he took his OV last week, and then you've got the Fakatau, and then
I think Blake Wong's supposed to go on the 27th of June as well. And then nobody said it. I even asked with somebody before I came on the show. Nobody said that Marcus Fakatau is going to commit on July 1st. That's just kind of been the rumored thing. And again, that's when Monsana Torbert's supposed to come off the board on July 1st. So there's a stretch coming up here where it could get really kind of hot and heavy for Ohio State. There also could be some misses. So I don't really know wholeheartedly what's going to happen now, but there's got to be, like with Carlos May, I think he told me yesterday that July 18th, like there's a lot of time until then.
July 22nd for David Gabriel George.
That's when you got to get done as Carlos May, in my opinion, at this stage.
Who are you most confident in from an uncommitted standpoint?
I would say Fakatau at this point. I think it's clear that Ohio State, from a resource standpoint, is going pretty aggressively on the defensive end spot specifically, not necessarily defensive tackle, which is why Carlos May is really the only one on the board at this juncture. But the investment being put into DJ Jacobs, Wyatt Smith, and Marcus Fakatau seems pretty clear cut at this point. So, and there's still some back and forth with Georgia. I understand that he might still be, but what we've noticed is the writers who cover Texas and Oregon and Notre Dame have all shifted their predictions to Ohio State. So, generally speaking, that's either because A, the coach at that school has told them where he's going, or B, those people are just following the trend. But Georgia's still involved there, but I think Marcus would be my guy.
Yeah, I'd go Marcus or Carlos. And the interesting thing is after June with all these camps, you kind of see how, obviously we always say like the next year's class is going to be the really elite one, and that's just kind of how the forward thinking into the NFL draft thought process as well. But like this past summer, they got to see Kellen Hall come on campus, who's a 5-star defensive tackle. Like, do we need to go spend up on Kasai Curry, or maybe can we just allocate some money to 28 so we can get Kellen Hall? Same thing at wide receiver, like with Jet Harrison. Can you go get Jet Harrison or Braylon Clark, who was on campus on Friday? Even at safety, like they love Eli Johnson. They'd love to get another one like Kanau Sullivan, who committed to Maryland. But, Casey Barner was on campus this past weekend as well, the 5-star from Georgia, who's been compared to Caleb Downs.
And Gage Weddle,
Eric Weddle's son was on campus. And there's been so you also use June to kind of get some foresight on what's coming down the pipe in next year's class and kind of see who those first-round picks so you can start allocating the spots.
I mean, Ohio State had a 2029 receiver on campus this weekend named Austin Miller from California, from Bellflower, California, 6'5", 200-pound, soon-to-be sophomore, kind of absurd on its face. But,
a 6'5" receiver in the class of 2029?
A kid like that is very strongly considering an early commitment as well. So then, you now then have 3 years of recruiting him, and then what happens? You don't talk money until the summer before he signs, and all of a sudden, who the heck knows? I just miss the old days when we had like Sean Wade's commitment. No drama at all. Nice and easy.
Just post it on social media. Be done with it.
Post it on social media.
Okay.
Did you scratch your recruiting itch there, Zach?
Yeah, I scratched the itch.
All right,
that was it. Oh, is the
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
I don't know where were you going there?
I was gonna say, are the offers on the table from Tennessee true?
I mean, we who knows?
Well,
Probably.
I want you to say it on the record. That's all.
Probably. I mean, this is the harsh reality of this system that we've created. There's nobody who really truly knows, except for the people who are writing the check. Like we can.
They might not know if that money's real
right.
either.
We hear what we
Yeah,
hear.
that's true.
We hear what we hear.
It's monopoly.
We hear what we hear, and then you try to discern, based on Ohio State's reaction, how legitimate they think it might be. And I would tell you that Ohio State, it seems pretty intent on providing more allocation to David Gabriel George than they have ever done for any running back. Is that going to be enough? I don't
Are
know.
you able to tell everyone what the offer is from Tennessee?
No, we've written about it before.
But we even talked last week. Berm put out a number.
It's a lot.
Berm put out a number on what it could be, and then you and I talked to people around the candidate. So it's like, actually, that number might be $1 million or so short of even what the max of Tennessee's offer could be.
It's a lot. But Ohio State knows that if Ohio State wants to be elite, you have to have elite running backs. And the last 25 years, Ohio State's won 3 national championships, and you won it with Maurice Clarett, with Ezekiel Elliott, and Quinshon and Travion. So you better have elite running backs. And
those guys are pretty good.
So
Yeah, no doubt.
that's the company.
Is he elite?
That's the company that they believe he belongs in. And that is why the Buckeyes basically punted on running back recruiting in the 2026 class. And they're not really making any overtures toward any other running back in this class at this point. They haven't circled around. They've got a couple guys that they feel like they could swing back to if David ends up picking Tennessee, but they're not conceding by any stretch. I mean, there's still a month to go of this back and forth. And so whatever the dollar amount that's being thrown around or being discussed, it's likely going to change again anyway.
What's your confidence level on 0 to 10? Putting you on the spot.
Probably 5.
He's saying, I don't know. He's 5 out of 10.
It truly could go either way. We don't know what these teams have up their sleeves.
Okay.
Like,
can you be the host of the Boren Blitz next week with them?
I should. I am.
Well, Berm actually said it right there. We were told last week that Ohio State still feels like it has some tricks up its sleeves. I think the offer to his teammate and his neighbor was one of them. I don't know what else they have left.
Get Nike on the phone. That's what they want. They're trying to get Nike
That's not
to
going to
help.
work.
Yeah, well, thanks, Nike, for nothing.
Yeah, Nike won't do it.
So I'd probably go 6 as well. Like whenever
you said 6 as well. So
Berm said 5.
No, you actually answered it.
Yeah.
So I'd probably go like whenever you talk to the people who are at the Woody, like there is still just a level of confidence of like I think we can win out. Like part of this is also like he's talented, but Carlos Lockman has put in so much time and effort that you have to like pay that off for a guy that is this talented and this elite at running back.
Yeah, so a month to go until that commitment date, and the end of June rapidly approaching. We will not be back in here next Monday. I'm going to be on vacation. Bob, Jay-Z are all over the place. Zach's got an anniversary coming up. So
and a birthday.
Happy anniversary. Not my birthday. My son's birthday.
Yeah.
Big week for you.
Bo, he's turning 2.
And a lot of chips coming out there with that catering. So enjoy this next upcoming stretch and the 4th of July and everything. Celebrate that to your heart's content and safely. We'll be back. After that, a lot more content, of course, coming throughout this week and the next 2 weeks. Some interesting interviews that we think you're going to like on the Austin Birm Show. I'm going to be trying to get a download of the Boren Blitz next week, which Zach is going to host with Jeremy Birmingham as guest, and
I can't wait.
See if he can pry some answers out of him.
I can already see.
We'll have answers on a handful of these guys by then. That's the good news.
Nice.
We'll know on Kalen Bailey. We'll know on Caden Moss, and then Blake Long. All by the time you guys record, I assume.
Yeah.
All right. So
It'll be a busy week.
Looking forward to that. Thank you to the team here at Roosters on Olin Tangi, Nicole Cox. Thank you to Tansky Power Sports. Mick Walker for hanging out with us on this Monday version of the live show. He's Birm. That's Zach. I'm Austin Ward. Have a great week, folks. This has been the live show at Roosters, a fun casual joint.